Hello and shalom. Today I'll be cooking a vegan curry. It will be a sag which will involve spinach, and I'll be using butternut squash. The first thing we need to do is prepare the squash and get this into the oven. The oven's preheating to 350 degrees, which is 180 degrees centigrade. So we're going to roast the butternut squash. These things are a little tough, but the nice thing about vegan, vegetarian curries is that the flesh of the vegetables that we use absorb the spices and herbs beautifully and take up that aroma. So just bear with me whilst we prepare the squash. As you can see, I've removed the flesh from the squash. You can save the pips and roast them if you wish to, and they make a nice addition onto the top of bread and so on. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these on a baking sheet, and then I'm going to put them in the preheated oven 45 minutes. Whilst the squash is in the oven, excellent opportunity to make some flatbread. So I'm going to use half a cup of plain flour, and a little goes a long way because we're going to roll it out very thin. I'm going to use some ethically sourced red palm fruit oil, which adds a lovely golden colour to pretty much anything you put in it. A tablespoon of that will do for now, and I'm going to add just enough water to make a not too sticky dough. Once we have the dough to a nice consistency, I'm going to knead this for maybe 5 minutes. Add a little water if it's too dry, add a little flour if it's too wet. Once the dough is at a nice consistency, we will divide this into threes. Make 3 round balls. So now we're going to roll these out, roughly circular, but it doesn't really matter. The key to this is to get them as thin as we possibly can, because they will bubble and rise to some extent when they're in the pan. So that will do for now. So over here we have a frying pan that's been on the ring for a short while, so that's getting quite hot. Basically you can have that as hot as you want it. So 2 minutes each side, and that's done. I'm going to put that onto a clean tea towel and keep that covered. That keeps the moisture in and keeps it soft. So we will make another couple with the dough that we've got left. We're at 40 minutes and it's all looking good. So the next job is to take our roasted squash and remove the skin, which comes away relatively easily. The next thing we want to do now we've peeled the squash is to cut it into chunks. If it feels as though it's not entirely cooked through, then don't worry too much about that, because we want some parts of it to be soft and squashy and add some texture to the sauce if you like, and we want other parts to remain a little more firm. Once we've peeled the squash, I'm going to let that cool now for 10 minutes and I'm going to chop some onions. I'm going to saute them in peanut oil and then we'll add the squash back in. So once we've sliced the onions, I'm going to put around 3 tablespoons full of peanut oil in a pan. I'm going to be using a wok because I just like the fact that it's open, more open at the top for spatulas and so on, but a large saucepan would do just as well. I'm going to cook these on a medium heat for around 5 minutes. So I've finished grating 4 large garlic. I'm going to add those to the mixture at 5 minutes, and then I'm going to continue to saute that for another 3 minutes. So after 3 minutes, we're going to add back in the squash and give that another 3 minutes to heat through. What we're going to do is use a fork to break up some of the softer parts, and they'll form part of our sauce. We're going to take about an inch of ginger and grate that straight into the pan so we get all the juices from the ginger going in there. And now it's starting to smell really nice. Now we come to the most interesting and I think the most fun part of cooking the curry, which is using spices. So I've got a small array of spices here, but I'm going to particularly use cinnamon, which is a beautiful sweet sort of smell you'll be familiar with. Garam masala just simply means hot spice, but it's not particularly hot in the sense of a chili, and that just smells of India. It's a beautiful warm curry smell. And cayenne chili pepper, which does have a little bit of fire to it, not as much as something like crushed chilies, which you might add, cardamom pods, which have a wonderful, I don't know how you might describe it, a smell of perfume really. Flowers, maybe, perfume. Cumin, which is used in a lot of curries. Turmeric, and turmeric is wonderful stuff. It doesn't really add much flavour. It's quite a woody sort of flavour, but it makes a beautiful, rich yellow orange colour to curries. Add it to rice, and when I do the rice later I'll be using a little bit of turmeric. So I'm going to use these three. The main one's going to be garam masala, and I'm going to add a really good teaspoon and maybe a teaspoon and a half of the garam masala. Cinnamon, not so much. This maybe that much will do for now. And we'll add a little bit of chili, a little bit of cayenne chili powder, just for a little bit of a kick. But the beauty of using spices in curries is that we can mix and match, and if you're not used to using spices, then there's no need to start out using 10 in a curry. You can mix and match, experiment. It's a wonderful playground of flavours and smells and colours, and you can make them to your own taste. So we're going to cook that for a little while. I'm going to add 250 ml of water. That's a standard cup size of water, and we'll get that heated up. As soon as that's at a reasonable boil, we're going to add 300 grams of spinach. Now, this might look like a massive amount of greenery if you've never used spinach before, but it cooks down really quickly and to next to nothing in volume. But it's adding an awful lot to the dish. There's a lovely earthy flavour from the spinach that we're going to add to it. Vitamins and minerals galore, and we'll let that wilt down a little bit and then stir it in. So that's wilting down. Add a little more. So we're at about 10-minute mark. As you can see, the spinach has reduced significantly, and the next job is to just roll the lime to get the juices flowing a little, and we're just going to put half a lime juice pot, just to give it a lovely sharp bit of taste to it. So we've got a pan of boiling water. I'm going to add a little salt. I'm going to put a cup of basmati rice in there, and I'm going to add around a teaspoon of turmeric. Give that a stir, and that turmeric's going to turn that rice, I hope, a lovely golden orange colour. and that'll take about 15 minutes. While the rice is cooking, the curry itself will be simmering under a lid, and this is particularly important to bring all those wonderful flavours from the spices out and get them into the vegetables and get those aromas going. So the rice is cooked and rinsed in boiling water, and you'll see it's kept a lovely golden colour. So I'm going to plate this up, and then we'll add the curry. That smells gorgeous. So there we have it. We have the homemade bread, we have the sag curry, and we have some pilau rice, turmeric rice. If you want to make this recipe, there are a lot of other things you can do. You can add almonds, you can add nuts of various sorts, you can add dry fruit, fresh fruit, chickpeas. Just let your imagination run riot. And beautiful vegan curry. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.